You are what I'm looking for. I know what I'm looking for.
In today's video, I have a few tips and tricks to share with you to help you get more out of the supplies that you buy and extend their life, and also to make crafting a breeze. So stay tuned, and hopefully I have some ideas that might inspire you in your crafty space. Okay, let's get started. For tip number 1, we've got an ink dauber refresh. I'm sure many of you have seen these ink daubers before with a little foam sponge on the end, and I'm sure many of you probably have them. So what I decided to do was pull off this little sponge, as it was getting all kind of gross and falling apart on my project. So this is just a little plastic handle, and there was some sticky adhesive on that foam that I had just peeled away. There are many different size foams that you can use for ink blending tools. I have a couple of options here. I've got the domed foam from Ranger, and I also have the regular blending foam from Ranger, and they will both fit. The ink dauber tool is just a little bit larger, but it will still work. So I have some hook and loop fastener, and this is adhesive backed, and my idea is to just put a little bit of that hook and loop onto the little plastic. Now I had this small little one, but I felt like it wasn't strong enough to hold onto that sponge. So I decided to peel that away. Now the hook and loop was easy to peel off, but not as easy as it looks. I had to use a pokey tool to get under and lift it. But once I lifted it away, it was perfectly clean, and I was able to start over and move over to another piece. And I just cut that to fit my blending foam. I'm going to adhere down this dome blending foam, and I'll just attach it to the hook and loop so that I can make sure that I'm attaching the right side, because there are two different sides to the hook and loop fasteners. So I'm attaching it to my foam, trimming it away, and then adhering that to the center of my little ink dauber. And then there we go. I have a removable piece of foam that I could change out at any time. I have a ton of these little tools, and I figured it was all gunky. I decided to clean it up. Since we had a new foam, let's make it brand new all over again. So this little plastic was easy to clean up with an alcohol wipe, and I was able to wipe away any of that gunk, and then my little foam looked brand new. Now I wanted to take it for a test run to make sure it would hold up, so I grabbed a piece of cardstock that I had some foiling on. So this is a raised texture with some foil, so I thought this would really give it a go for its money, to make sure that the foam wouldn't pull off or be weird and floppy when I applied pressure. So I inked it up really well. I've got a Hero Arts Passion Flower ink pad, and this is a felt surface ink pad. I just inked it up really well and then rubbed it over my project. Now I was applying some force here to make sure that I got the results that I wanted. And then I just grabbed a wipe and wiped away any excess ink that might be sitting on top of that foil. And I was really pleased with this result. It worked just as I had intended it to, and gave some new life to my old ink daubers. Okay, moving right along to tip number 2, we've got the Jewel Picker Refresh. Now this, you want to be extra careful doing this tip because it involves an open flame candle. So I have a Marvy jewel picker, and I have some embellishments, and I'm just going to dump them into a little tray here. And I have a candle off to the right hand side here, and I've just got it going, melting some of the wax inside at the top. So my issue with the Marvy jewel picker is that over time it loses its stick, and I can't be confident that I'm not going to pick up a gem and drop it in the wrong spot, or not be able to release it, or, you know, all those crafty problems. So what I've decided to do was refresh the tips of my Marvy jewel picker. So I've got my candle wax here, and I've let it melt some in the top, and I'm just going to dip my tip into that hot wax. I'm not putting it into the open flame or anything like that. I'm just dipping the tip into the melted wax. So what this is going to do is recoat the little tip. So the little tip is like a waxy, rubbery sort of thing, and you could always wash them and they'll re-stick again. I've had these for quite a few years, and I find that doesn't always work. So I just dip the little tip into my wax, and then I let it dry. And also when I let it dry, I kind of let it dry standing up perpendicular, because if any wax is going to run and drip, I want it to sort of drip down the side of my jewel picker so that it doesn't create any weird and wonky shape. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be like buying a brand new one, but it is a quick and easy fix to give new life to your jewel picker. So you'll be able to pick up your gems and jewels with confidence and place them down exactly where you want them to. I think this is a great way to get more out of the life of the tools that we invest our money in. I just want to caution you to make sure that you're extra careful when doing this, and always remember to blow out your candle when you're done. You don't want to leave this open flame around your craft room because, well, that could be catastrophic. So the caps will fit right back onto the little jewel picker, and it's safe for the next time we want to use it. Okay, for tip number 3, I've got a couple of die cutting hacks for you. So I have a Gemini Junior die cutting machine. It is an electronic device and it has a power cord. I store this in my room right beside my desk on this little Lazy Susan turntable thingy that I picked up from Amazon. It was super cheap. I think it was like $12 or something like that. And basically it allows me to pop my plates in and spin it around so I can collect the plates from the back. And it's super efficient in my crafty space and I don't have to move it around. So I'm just going to demonstrate for you here. I've got a bunch of dies and I'm using some scrap backgrounds that I've created. These are little paperclip and label dies from Tim Holtz. And I'm just going to lay them onto my plate and tape them down. Then I'm going to add my magnetic plate, my plastic shim, and my top plate. And I'm going to put the sandwich together and put it through my Gemini and then catch it out the backside. And I'm able to just spin that around, grab it quickly. I don't have to get up or move or go anywhere. It's right beside me and quick and easy to use. And my Gemini cuts out these dies absolutely beautiful. One pass, all of these dies, I think there are like 8 dies here, and I've had them all taped down. No fancy moving them around or strategic placement, anything like that. I just put them in my die cutting machine, taped them, put them through, pulled them out, and they were good to go. So that's a quick little tip for you for your Gemini Junior die cutting machine. A Lazy Susan, super cheap find from Amazon. Okay, for my last tip for today, I've got a TWINE jar dispenser. So this is a little jar that I picked up from the dollar store. It cost me $1 and I poked a hole through the top using a hammer and a nail. I just hammered that through and I took a little pair of baby scissors and tied it to the lid of this twine jar. Now I know as a crafter, ribbon and twine drive me crazy, so I don't have too much of it because I don't have patience for it. So this little tip came quite in handy. So what I was able to do was drop all of my twine into this jar and feed the start of my twine through the little hole in the top. And then I'm able to screw the lid back on and close it up. And then when I need a piece of twine, I've got scissors handy to cut it. I just pull out as much as I need and then snip away. Now you want to make sure that you don't snip too close to the lid, otherwise you're going to end up dropping it back in, and that's not a huge deal, but it kind of defeats the purpose of having it at hand on the ready. So this little jar will open up, you can keep your scissors stored inside, and it's nice and tidy in your work area, and you have twine whenever you need it. I love this little tip. Alright, so that's going to be it for today's video. I hope that you found some useful tips today, and maybe you might be inspired to take a look at some of your craft supplies and see how you can repurpose them or use things from around the house in your craft space to make it more organized or efficient for you. Thanks so much for joining me today. Have yourself a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!